Ladies and gentlemen, we'll move straight into our next speaker. I'd love to introduce Cam Long, Vice President Upstream from Lynas Rare Earths Limited. Lynas is the world's largest producer of rare earths outside China, with the company enjoying recent success on the back of increasing prices for rare earths over the last 12 months. This perhaps ignores what's been an amazing turnaround of the business in recent years, including a potential expansion into new markets, all the while navigating a sometimes difficult operating environment and more recently the impact of COVID. Lynas will soon be establishing a major presence right here in Kalgoorlie with the location of its midstream processing as part of a broader expansion of its production capacity. As VP Upstream of Lynas, Kim Leung, a chemical engineer with 35 years' experience, will be playing an integral role in this next phase of Lynas's evolution. Please welcome Cam Leung.
Thanks, Marcus, and it's a real pleasure to be here once again. And once again, our CEO, Amanda Lacaze, was really looking forward to coming, but very disappointed she can't make it. I'd like to begin by just acknowledging the traditional custodians of the land which we meet today and pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging, and extend that respect to Aboriginal people here today. Today, I want to update you on what's happened over the past 10 months, and in particular some exciting progress at Mount Weld and an update to our project here in Kalgoorlie. Just the photo you see here, that's actually inside our pit at Mount Weld. We recently hosted an EU delegation. It was enthusiastically co-hosted by our WA Governor, the Honourable Kim Beazley, and Mount Weld is one of the premier rare earth deposits in the world, and in recent times we've actually hosted visits by senior US, Australian, Japanese and Malaysian delegations. Just go through the disclaimer. So what's happened since last October? And I'll start with the most obvious. Our name has actually changed. We're now Lynas Rare Earths, and that reflects the business we're in. We're the largest, we are the sort of only significant producer of separated rare earth materials outside of China. The front end of our business is like a resources company, but the back end is more like a specialty chemicals company. Our market capitalisation, when I spoke here last October, was $2.1 billion, and today we're over $6 billion. And we also have about $680 million in the bank to fund our growth projects. In the US, we've now signed a contract with the US Department of Defense to build a light rare earth separation facility. And then also as part of our contract with the US Department of Defense, we've actually submitted the detailed engineering and design work for a heavy rare earth facility as part of our contract. I'll also touch on our operations. Our major facility is in Malaysia, and I'll talk a bit about that, and then I'll talk about Mount Weld and Kalgoorlie. Last October, I mentioned that the market for rare earths has proven to be resilient through COVID. This continues to be very much the case, and we're seeing some really good market growth in many sectors, including electric vehicles, wind power generation, consumer electronics, and then also smart homes. So we see strong growth of the market now and into the future, and a real focus for us as a business is to actually grow to meet that market. And it will start here in Western Australia with what we're doing at Mount Weld and in Kalgoorlie. Last week, we had our quarterly results. It was a strong operational result. It was our record sales revenue and receipts. There was strong demand for our NdPr products and also strong pricing. Some of our other rare earth products have recovered, so things like catalysts for automotive and also FCC have come back to pre-COVID levels. Our CEO, Amanda Lacaze, praised the the performance of our Malaysian team, and they've been really outstanding during COVID, and particularly the last quarter. And even though we've been running at constrained production, we've been running at about 75% of our capacity, we've had our best year so far. And the last 2 quarters in particular, I think gives us some glimpses of what our potential is. It was interesting talk around COVID this morning. We've been so fortunate, I think, in WA, but when I talk to my colleagues in Malaysia, they're facing the risk of a real pandemic. In Malaysia, we get up to 17,000 cases per day. And when I talk to my colleagues there, they're just so enthusiastic to get vaccinated. Our team there have done an amazing job, firstly, keep our people safe and healthy, and then also to keep COVID out of our plant and keep our plant running. We operate under government movement control orders, so there's restrictions on numbers we can have on site. So we're running with 40% of our manning on site. There's also border restrictions. We actually do COVID testing at our front gate, just like we might do drug and alcohol testing on our Australian sites. We actually have accommodation actually close to our site because some of our employees actually can't travel. And one thing we're very proud of is we're currently participating in a Malaysian government public-private partnership of COVID-19 industry immunisation program. And in the last fortnight, we have had about all of our eligible employees, about 97% of them have now had their first COVID shot, and quite a lot of the spouses and also many of our contractors. This is an aerial shot of our Mount Weld mine looking west. So in the foreground, you can see our pit. It's a relatively small pit. It's about 660 metres north-south, about 350 metres east-west, and only 65 metres deep. So because we're so high grade, we actually mine and stockpile our ore, and you can see our ore stockpiles. And the ore looks like a reddy brown dirt, and that's because we're mining what is the oxidised sort of enriched zone of the deposit there. In the background, you can see our processing plant and our tailings facilities. So our deposit is located within what was an old volcanic pipe that's about 3 kilometres in diameter, and we're actually in this oxidised enriched zone. There's about 30 to 40 metres of cover above us, and then our ore bodies goes down. Currently we're down 65 metres, and I'll show you some cross sections later. As the world accelerates its efforts to decarbonise, it's very clear the world will need rare earths for decades to come. And at Lynas, we're working to ensure we're a reliable supplier for current and future generations. And that basically means investment in our front end, and the first stage of this is our exploration. So last November at our AGM, we announced some results of a couple of drill holes that we did. This picture here, that's a cross-section of our pit. The sort of yellowy colour you can see, that's actually the CZ and LI ore that we have been treating. You can see the outline of our pit there, so that's down to 65 metres deep. The red is what our apatite ore zone, so that's the ore that we have yet to treat, and it's down below us. And last year we drilled 2 holes, vertical holes, and down about 200 metres down below the current pit. And we went into the blue there, which is the primary mineralisation. So that's the source of that oxidised enriched zone that we see up above. It's lower grade, but we can actually visibly identify the mineralisation and see it. So that was very exciting. Our geologists were very excited. So they wanted to drill a 1 kilometre diamond drill hole, which we've recently done. So I'd certainly like to thank the WA government for their assistance, and they'll be getting some very, very nice core shortly. So this diagram shows the cross-section of Mount Weld. If you can picture that blue, that's the sort of volcanic intrusion, the old volcanic pipe. It's about 3 kilometres in diameter. It goes down a long way. I believe I've been told it's been mapped down to over 6 kilometres and potentially further. We see a range of mineralisations here. Apart from rare earths, there's niobium, tantalum, zirconium, titanium, and scandium. Up on the surface in the light blue, that's that sort of oxidised, sort of weathered zone, enriched zone. You can see our little pit there in the middle, and then next to it is a dolerite dike that sort of came later. And you can see that little red line going down. That's the 200-metre hole that we drilled last year. And then you can see the angled line, red line. That's the kilometre diamond drill hole that we've just completed. So we found bands of rare earth, visible bands of rare earth mineralisation throughout that hole. And in fact, the hole actually ended in very visible sort of mineralisation there. And you can see some of the mineralisation, some of the core there. We've only just logged it, and we've well progressed in cutting the core. So very, very early days yet. A lot of work to do, but I'm sort of really excited about getting some of the results and getting stuck into some of the metallurgical test work. And if you want a bit more detail, we lodged an ASX announcement this morning. In our plant at Mount Weld, it's been full of challenges since day one, and actually even before then. Some of the things that we've done since in recent times, we've spent a lot of time on looking at improved reagents. The top left there you see, that's some of the froth washing we're doing. So that's actually froth washing on our conventional cells. We've done work on our process control. On the bottom, you see the stack cell. That's the second stack cell that we've done. A very low-cost route to capacity. I mentioned the apatite ore that sits below our main ores, the ores that we've actually mined so far. We haven't treated any of that yet, but we've been doing a lot of test work on that. So earlier this year, we did a plant trial, and the plant trial went particularly well. So that's one of the things that we're actually doing to de-risk some of the future ore testing that we're actually going to do. And the last picture there is the picture of our new concentrate dryer. We've got a small one currently, but this one here will allow us to dry all of our concentrate and improve the physical characteristics of our concentrate when we actually do the cracking and leaching. I talked last year about our rare earth processing plant that we're building here in Kalgoorlie. This is an artist's impression. We talk about cracking and leaching as the first stage of the processing that we're doing in Malaysia, in our big plant there. Truthfully, what our design in Kalgoorlie is it's almost our Lynas Malaysia plant, but without the solvent extraction and the calcining tunnel furnaces. So quite a large plant. So in terms of a bit of a recap, we're installing the next stage downstream rare earth processing. It'll take the rare earth concentrate from Mount Weld and produce a mixed rare earth carbonate, and we'll send that both to our plant in Malaysia for the solvent extraction and also for the plant in the US. So originally planned as growth capacity, it's grown to be replacement capacity, but it's going to be one of the pillars of our business and offers us a platform to expand our production. The design is a Mark III version of our initial design. So we had our initial design, we've made a lot of improvements, basically rebuilt our plant in Malaysia, and the version you'll see here in Kalgoorlie, it incorporates some of the additional learnings that we've actually had. To make it viable economically in Australia, we've gone for a single large kiln line operation. In Malaysia, we do this capacity with 4 kiln lines. So you can see here on the picture, we've got a single kiln, and this facility, it's going to be the first downstream rare earth processing in WA. It gives us the pathway for growth. It gives us the opportunity to treat other third-party rare earth feeds, and then also opens up the possibility for further downstream processing of rare earths in Australia. We will have 2 locations for our operations. The main plant site, you can see down the bottom in yellow, it's what we call Lot 500 on the Great Eastern Highway. So it's past the West Kalgoorlie light industrial area, it's past some bush and up against the railway line. We have a general purpose lease for this site. On the top there is the second site, that's for the long-term storage of our byproducts. It's a large site, it's beyond the city landfill facility, and we're currently going through the tenure applications for this. In terms of progress on our project, we're well advanced in our approvals. The EPA has just completed a 4-week public review of our environmental review document. It's a bit of a monster of a document. You can see me with it there. It's 4 volumes, 2,000 pages. And as part of this, we ran a community sort of pop-up information point with members of our team who are here today to make it more available for the community. And you can see the posters actually on the walls there. We've extracted a lot of the key information out of the environmental review document. We are definitely committed to being open and transparent about what we do. We've now purchased most of our long lead time and specialised processing equipment, and we're focused on finishing our detailed design and getting the construction packages out. So our critical path item is the Rotary Kiln. Just to give you an idea of size, that's 6 metres in diameter and it's 110 metres long, and it will come in 5 sections. These are shots from about a month ago, and it shows the 5 completed sections. They're actually on their way down to the port, and then they're going to be shipped on a ship out to Australia along with some of the other equipment there. We got approval from the EPA to do some small-scale preliminary works on site while the project was being assessed. We focused on our critical path because we need to be fully operational by mid-2023. We've cleared about 10 hectares. That's allowed us to take deliveries of some of the equipment that's actually been built. So you can see some of the steel tanks that have been built locally. We've actually just started, we've completed the pad for the kiln and looking to put in some kiln footings there. We're actually running a few small tours during diggers, so there may be some spots left if you're actually interested, so come see us at our booth. And just to sum up, we've made some really excellent progress this year as a company. We're very focused on building our new facility here in Kalgoorlie. We see some strong market demand currently for our products and very much into the future. And we see some really exciting growth opportunities ahead of us. As a company, we've got money in the bank. We're in a good sort of capitalisation position for growth. We believe that Mount Weld has the potential to underpin some long-term growth. And we believe that our Kalgoorlie operations can become the hub for rare earth processing and a key cog in our future growth plans. Thank you.
Thanks, Cam, for that great presentation on Lynas. We've got a little bit of time for Q&A. I'd like to invite anyone with a question from the audience. Just put up your hands if you like to ask a question. We'll keep our eye out. There's one question that's come through on the email. I will kick it off. I can't see anyone in the audience at the moment. Cam, we can see the massive demand for outlook, the massive demand for rare earths. We heard a bit of that from Professor Golden this morning as well. You've got the increased financial capacity, your IP is strong, your market position is strong. I'm not sure how you're going to answer this. What is the potential to increase your production capacity beyond your Lynas 2025 targets?
I'll probably get into trouble if I answer it, so maybe I should just say lots. I think we've got all the fundamentals in place for strong growth, and I think you've summarised it very well, better than I could have.
Okay. Thanks, Cam. Any other questions from the audience? Yes, just over here, midsection.
Yeah, Greg O'Neill, Mondium. With the spend both on Kalgoorlie and in States, I saw in the last presentation in your press releases you had about 680 million cash. Will they burn basically all of that cash?
Our sort of envelope for the spend in Kalgoorlie is about the 500 million. Obviously, we will be looking for some grants from the US government for our US operations. We're currently making some strong cash in current conditions.
Thank you. Any other questions, ladies and gentlemen? No? Okay. Thanks, Cam. Well done. Okay, that's fine. Thanks, mate. Okay,